final plat of Molitor Industrial Park, Plat 2. The property is legally described as Lot 1 and Lot 2 Molitor Industrial Park. Public hearing opened up at 6:31.
Mr. Jansky, Planning Commission members, anyone watching at home this evening or perhaps later. This is a pretty straightforward request, and in fact, it's not the first time we've seen it. This request for a simple, essentially a small plat boundary realignment sort of setup. We reviewed it in November of 2018, but it wasn't acted upon at that time by the applicants. The project just kind of went idle for a while, and since it took longer than a year, it has to be re-reviewed and ultimately reapproved before the city council before it could commence. So the planning commission is, of course, part of that process again. The proposed subdivision is a 3-lot, single block subdivision. I'll go into the aerial here. It's the area of Rock-On Trucking, most people are familiar with, on 28th Avenue South, just north of 23 and south of the Fleet Farm area. The reason for the request is a pending arrangement for the Molitors to buy a small portion of property from Rock-On Properties, which is on the eastern side. The Rock-On property has not been previously platted, and the proposed sale parcel is too small to do by a lot split, so we end up having to do a plat to facilitate the sale of that property. The proposed plat would create a 3-lot subdivision, total area of 14.22 acres. There's no specific development or construction proposed with the plat at this time. Basically just kind of setting the stage for the future and squaring off the property a little bit. Access to the properties will remain the same. Functionally, nothing changes at this point. We did identify an issue with easements during the survey and plat process, and there would be a vacate utility and drainage easements at the same time. I think the council did already approve that, and that would stay valid, so that does need to be done. The planning commission doesn't have to review the vacation portions. Those newly created easements do have to be dedicated on the final plat. We also did recommend that the new drainage and utility easements be expanded to a total 30-foot width. So I believe that's reflected on the Mylar copy we received as the final plat. This is the same documentation that was done initially, so it doesn't reflect on here, but it is reflected on the plat that's essentially ready to go once it passes the review process. So it meets all the standards we asked of it. Since a portion of the property has not been previously platted, the aspect of parkland dedication does come up. Based on the established value of the unplatted Rock-On portion, which does not include the buildings per the assessor's office, and based on 5% of that for commercial or industrial use, the recommended payment in lieu of parkland dedication suggested by staff would be $14,710. Previously the park board and city council both adopted that amount, and I'm not proposing for it to change. Any change would be nominal, so I don't see a need to re-review that. Staff is supportive of the preliminary and final plats as submitted. No major issues with this, pretty straightforward, and the applicants have come to terms on the sale now, so it's expected to move forward pretty quickly once the planning commission and the city council complete the process here. That being my report, I would just recommend approval of the preliminary plat with the following conditions. Again, I believe these have been taken care of, but we'll formalize them here for good measure. Property is subject to requirement for payment in lieu of parkland dedication as recommended by park board and established by city council. Any required parkland dedication fees must be paid prior to affixing of city signatures upon the plat. And number 2, the proposed drainage and utility easement running north-south between Lot 1 and Lot 2 and Lot 3 shall be expanded to 30-foot total width with 15 feet on either side of the property boundary. With those in mind, I would recommend approval of the final plat as well. But again, I believe both these conditions have ultimately already been satisfied.
Okay, thank you, John.
Do we have any, do we have to go through the motion of closing the public hearing?
That's what I was gonna ask for, a motion to close public hearing.
So I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Got a motion and a second to close public hearing. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passed, all present. Public hearing closed at 6:37. Commissioners, got any questions on this, or? John, good job, John.
Seeing we have no input from public, I'd move to approve with the conditions 1 and 2 laid out.
I'll second that motion.
We got a motion to approve with conditions. And a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passed, all present. Any new business, or?
No new business, but just a couple quick updates. We will be expecting at least one submittal for March, so we can anticipate having a March meeting unless something changes, but it is shaping up to be that way, so we can kind of plan around that. Things are looking good COVID number-wise, so I expect we'll continue to meet in person for the foreseeable future, which is great. And as I mentioned before, but I don't know if everybody saw the email, we do have iPads that we will be setting planning commission members up with, just to make it a little easier for your meetings and for your attachments and things. We will keep doing paper copies for as long as anyone wants, but we would prefer to transition to the iPads for kind of the delivery and review of things, but we'll continue to mail or provide hard copies as you prefer. iPads will also make it easier if we need to eventually pivot to another online meeting option, or even if if we have meetings and say one of you is up north or away, it does give that option to participate kind of remotely that we can do and still meet requirements. So we have to get those set up for you, but I'll let you know when they're ready, and if you need any little overview of how they run, we'll be happy to do that too.
Okay,
Right then.
can I get a motion for adjournment?
I move we adjourn.
We got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:39.